Hi, this is Dimensions with D. I'm your host D'Angelo, and you're listening to The Roar. And, and this episode is actually the season finale of the show. And so, when I first started the season, or rather the show, um, uh, initially started it as like talking about ways to survive a college like this, but as the show went on, I ended up talking about what keeps not just me but people they go to a class like this going in general, like faith, friends, purpose, identity, and just learning how to breathe again. And so, for some of the episodes, some of the episodes I did this season, I well, really, really it was just two, but I talked about my college survival guide and like tips to survive college. And so to kind of summarize it, um, I would say college isn't college isn't just school. It's more about building your identity and and another thing, especially this applies for me, but humor and stress will help you learn better to adapt to situations. And always be sure to acknowledge the practical lessons that happened as a result of you being in certain situations. And so one of the things I ended up discussing in those episodes was that popularity doesn't pay tuition. Remembering names is a silent superpower that will help you in the long run. And syllabus doesn't teach you how to be a person. It That's kind of something you have to kind of find on your own pace, I would say. And but part of survival is showing up even when we don't feel like we're the main character, but know that you are because you have your own set of strengths and weaknesses that no one else has, and so you are the main character. Everyone else is kind of have like a guest role. I would say like a guest role. I would think of it as like tiers, like recurring role, guest role, or like special guest role, depending on how you view the person in your life for at the moment. And so, and so another thing I talked about this season was transitioning into college and how faith can play a big part into that and your identity. And that goes back into episode 2 when I had Sam come on the show. And so I would say as a freshman, I feel like even when he came on, I feel like I learned a lot from him. Even besides like the whole point of just getting to know him more as a person, but I feel like um, I found it interesting and really impactful the way he was able to explain being Catholic. Um, because I would say back in my early years of college, I feel like the majority of people would not have been able to do that, and for him to be able to do that, with him being a freshman, it was really. I feel like it was more. I guess I would use the term eye opening for me. Yeah, and it was really. Um, it made me realize how much faith fits into adapting to change, especially when it comes to being in a new setting like college and being around new people that you come across in college, and and how faith is so much how faith is very important when it comes to supporting each other when everything is totally new. And so I would say to all that is that growth doesn't always look like progress. Sometimes it looks like confusion, trying again and again, and finding that peace in the noise. And so something else I talked about this season was men's mental health and breaking silence, because November was Men's Mental Health Month, and that was something I really wanted to go into, as I view mental health as that's something I care deeply about, especially for me personally, because I go through it a lot, especially in college, with not just college, but outside of college as well. But it really started taking effect while I was in college. So that's why it means so much to me. And so I talked about it in, I think, in 2 episodes as well. But I think one of the things I remember was um, how it was what I talked about, being this strong friend. And I feel like some of us are in that position, and some of us realize it, some of us don't. But I feel like it kind of goes both ways. But I know, like in my case, it always felt one sided. Like I was always the one trying to uphold the friendship, but but that's just how I view it, I guess I would say. And then I also try to normalize the challenges men face, because I feel like currently currently it's kind of talked about, but not. I would say I don't think it's talked about enough, and I feel like at, we as men still get judged and judged about how we feel, especially people who are, I guess I would say, who are more traditional. And so I feel like we still have ways to go in terms of normalizing the challenges, I would say. And something else was recognizing the healing that you're still learning. I'm still learning. So I would say I've made a lot of mistakes in college. Still still do. Um, but I think that just makes that's the thing that just makes us human. But I don't know. I don't know if it's just me, but I feel like whenever I make a mistake, I feel like it's such a big thing. Like especially in regards to other people, it's just like they view you as this monster. I would say it's oh, like you're not supposed to be making these mistakes, or like their view of you completely changes because you made that said mistake. It's like we're all human. We can, well, the way I see it is that we're all human, and we can always bounce back from mistakes majority of the time. And so it's like once that happens, it's like you gotta find ways to heal, whether it be faith or something that's unique to you entirely. And so I remember one of the main things was, I think one of the main things I talked about in those episodes was like, for the first time I said a lot of things that I never wanted people to know, because because I knew I would get judged, and I felt like people wouldn't really understand. And I still kind of feel that way, but I would say doing this, I guess somehow I feel like seeing them made me feel less alone. Um, I would say so. It's definitely gonna help, just a little bit. Um, because I would say I guess I would say this semester particularly, I met 3 people who I want to shout out or thank um, for, I guess, um, making me feel, I guess, less alone and more human, I would say. Um, there are 3 people. 2 of them are in Tiger Catholic. Um, one one was Sam, who I had on who I had on the second episode, and the second one, and who's entire Catholic, is his sister Claire. Yeah, because I can remember she initiated these little workouts. Um, um, some were on campus, and then I think at least two were on Shelby Farms, and so it was nice. It was nice. Well, in terms for me, it was nice to just get out, meet some new people, and it's like cause I've exercised before, but it's different exercising with like or just or exercising with other people too, and and I also consider like hanging out with people too. So that was also me kind of getting out of my comfort zone as well. And the fact that she's also a freshman and she's kind of making that bold statement, well, not bold statement, but being bold enough to initiate things like that, it was really surprising too. I would say. And the third person is his name is Reagan Irvin. Um, the funny thing is we actually had met the summer after my freshman year. It was at a we met at a cookout, and it was like and that was basically it. But I think randomly, I want to say it was between late September and mid October, between those two dates. I reconnected with him because I randomly went to the the UC lawn on a Sunday. And it happened to be when the Panhellenic sororities were rushing, and so I think he spoke to me because we were like kind of standing uh, near each other, and so he actually remembered me. Like I think I remembered who he was. I think I heard someone who he was talking to say his name. So like, cause I kind of knew of him, but like I guess because like the way I am, I'm not gonna acknowledge that I know you because I kind of want to risk the possibility that you don't know me, and so I kind of wait till he says like the other person says something, and he did, and so we ended up talking, and then he invited me to campus outreach, and so um, I've been going. I kind of been going to that ever since we talked, and I remember the first night I went back to campus outreach after after the service. We ended up talking about how the moment I actually gave myself to Christ, and it was like that personal story I shared with him, which I guess honestly like thinking about it right now, I haven't really shared with shared shared with anyone really except for the time I said it on. I think I mentioned it on the show, but before I started the show, I think he's one person on campus that I shared that story with, and so we ended up talking because he told me also a little bit about his journey with faith too, which I really appreciated. And then he also invited me to the church he goes to on Sundays, Mission Church. So I've been going to that here and there as well, um, but to bring it back, he's one person I've enjoyed getting to know over the course of the semester, as well as Claire and Sam as well. Um, just knowing people who are really, I guess I would say, in tune with their faith has been really has allowed me to learn more about my own faith and just gain and seeing how much I can improve with my relationship with Jesus and God. I am really appreciated. I am really appreciative. Yeah, that's the word. Appreciative of Claire, Reagan, and Sam for that. And so, a fourth thing I've talked about was I talked about the season was community leadership and legacy, and that goes into two of my other guests I had on the show, Micah and Stephanie. Um, I guess from my conversation with Micah, I guess I would say I learned more about, I guess, how much people can influence you in a good way that will that push you to be more involved. Um, because I would say for me that I don't think I really had that case really. Like no one directly pushing me specifically to get involved. I think it was more just like, because I think the reason why I got involved at first in the first place on campus was like, um, I guess getting to know people, and I was trying to do things that would help me get service hours, and so with those two things I started to get more involved. So I think the first thing I got involved with was Tigers for St. Jude, and then yeah, it was that, and then that, and then through that I joined SGA for first year Senate, and then regular SGA, and then that spawned all the other things I was involved in. Uh, it just says, well, it just can go in that. So yeah, the first initial thing for me was Tigers for St. Jude, which that was a funny thing. I think the thing was I saw them. I think it was around this time because it was like cold. Well, not cold. Well, to me it wasn't cold, but it was. I remember they was there. The two of members of Tucker St. Jude were selling. Well, I don't know what they were selling, but they were giving away hot chocolate outside the UC. And so after talking with them, I applied to be an ambassador. Yeah, and then I got that, and then that's what I did that for that spring. That's what I did the second semester, freshman year, which is spring, and so that kind of started my journey of him being involved on campus. What I learned from Stephanie was, I guess, time management and communication. Because I would say those two things I'm still trying to improve. I feel like, I feel like I've definitely gotten better since I started college, but it's like most things in life, it can always be improved. It's not for me. Well, to me, it'll never be something that's perfected. I just gotta always get better at it, and so me talking with her, it I guess it like broadened my understanding because she had that moment. She was telling me how she had that moment where she realized she had to be more organized and be more efficient with her time. And her, at least her first year, because can't remember was it her first semester or second semester, but it was only her first year. As a freshman, and so her having that moment like very early on versus me who had that moment like late in college, it just made me think just where people are in the events that like shape them, I would say. And then and also like with her being involved too, because I would say like, because I would even go as far as to say that she's done more stuff than me, because I would say, cause like with her co-founding and creating Mock Trial, which I'm a part of, by the way. um yeah, that really like surprised me. And then her being in, because something I forgot to talk with her about was her being one of the finalists in the homecoming thing. And so like with her being um with her being just a sophomore, she's already um super involved, like like at this point. So I can only imagine, because I know she's trying to get into nursing. So I do wonder if it's just gonna like, how much like is she just trying to get all her involvement done at this before she starts going full into nursing, or how much more involved will she be once she's in nursing. So and so based on my two conversations with them, I learned that behind every campus leader is that person carrying pressure too. Because we also, um, with me, Mike, and Stephanie in our conversations, we also went into how the ways we handle pressure or like things that may overwhelm us and how to overcome it. So it was nice to know what they do as well. So I can implement some of those into my own life as well. So I'll say to sum up that, I would say um, Michael and Stephanie showed me that leadership isn't smart. Like it's more or less uh, stewardship, and legacy is intention. It's the impact you have on the people that you're leaving behind. And so, with that, I'd like to thank everyone who has listened and shared the episodes because I can actually see like the amount of listens and downloads and plays um, like on each individual episode. So so thank you to everyone who has listened or shared it on the story or just shared it with their friends and groups and stuff like that. And I'd like to give a special shout out to the three guests I had on the show, in the order that they appeared. Sam Norwood, Michael Loftus. I hope I'm saying your last name right. And Stephanie Monacet. Stephanie Monacet. Yeah. I just thank you all for coming on. I really enjoyed you guys coming on and with our conversations and learning more about you and finding out what's more or less like your purpose and your impact on campus and the way you see the world. And as I wrap up this episode and as in this season, I'd like to leave you with this final line. Wherever you are in your story, keep going. Because I know I'm definitely in my. I know I'm definitely in one of my story arcs as well. And also, at the time of me recording this, it's currently December 1st, and so this is also happens to be the last episode before I turn 23. So see, yeah, I turned I'll be older later this week, and so yeah, that's something that's kind of been daunting. And so one of the things I'm grateful about is doing this because I never would have thought, especially when I first started college, that I'd be doing something like this. So here's to this season, and here's to doing many more seasons as time goes on. And with that, I'd like to thank you all for listening. This has been Dimensions with D, and I'm your host, D'Angelo.